Hello and good morning and welcome back to She Sparks Live episode 7, Being Interested, Not Interesting. We are so excited as we have Miss Leah Green with us today. She is leaving her mark and sharing her spark. So Leah, to start off, I would like to ask you, if you could be any animal, what would it be and why?
I would be a stuffed animal.
What? A stuffed animal? What stuffed animal? And why a stuffed animal?
I don't think it matters what stuffed animal you are, because whatever stuffed animal people have, they love it.
Oh
they
my
love that
gosh.
stuffed animal.
Wow.
You don't have to feed it. You don't have to clean up after it. It costs you nothing. You sleep with it. You travel with it. You do everything with it.
Oh my gosh, that's super good.
When it's dirty, you throw it in the washer. You tell me what other animal you can do that to.
Rachel and I was talking about this yesterday, and if I was an animal, I would either be a bird or a tiger, and she said an otter. But a stuffed animal is brilliant. I mean, Leah Green, everybody. So she is with Life Designed, and so Leah, talk about what is your passion and what sparked your journey?
Well, I love the idea of life designed every single day. And the reason that I chose that for my business name and for what I'm doing is because I believe that we have a choice every single day to design our own lives. And so whatever you've chosen in your life to do or be, you can design it every single day. It's up to you. That choice is yours.
I love that. I absolutely love that. So the topic for episode 7 is, again, be interested, not interesting. And that's actually a topic you chose. And so what does that topic mean to you, Leah?
Well, being interested instead of interesting means that you are really completely engaged in the other person. You know, when someone is talking to you, you are truly listening. You're listening to what they say to you. You are you have turned off the other distractions. You really, truly want to know about that person. Mm-hmm. And when you do that, when you put your phone down, when you turn the voices off that are telling you about all the 200 things that you have to get done that day, when you do that and you really focus on that person, you become interested and they become interesting.
Exactly.
And then other really magical things start to happen as the relationship develops as well.
Yeah, no, I completely agree. I think one technique that you could use to be more interested instead of interesting is definitely put your distractions away, like you said. But I see a lot of people, and I'm guilty of this sometimes as well, when they go to a meeting, they have their phone out on the table.
Right.
And there is a piece in our brain that is like automatically always waiting for our phone to ding, which is a distraction. Right? So have you ever experienced being in a meeting where someone didn't act like they were interested in you?
Oh, yes. They're glancing at their phone, they're reading it, they're tapping the button. So if we're going to have our phone out and it rings and we tap the button that says, I'll call you back, or you send that custom text, whatever it is. Well, if you're not going to intentionally pick up the phone, why do you have it out? Number one. Unless you are in a situation where your mom or your dad, you've got children who may need you, or you have a situation in life, but then of course you start the conversation that way. I would say, Sharon, I really don't like to have my phone out when I'm, meeting up with someone. But I have a child who is in a situation where they may need to reach out to me. If they call, do you mind if I pick the call up? If you start that way, then the other person knows that your phone's not out because you don't want to talk to them. It's out because there's a situation that may come up, and people understand that, and they're completely fine with that. Otherwise, if you're going to have your phone out and you're just going to tap, I'll call you back, why do you have it out? Let it go to voicemail.
Exactly.
They're going to hear that you're going to call them back.
Well, and for me, like I said, I'm guilty about it. I use it for time, because I'm super busy and I go to meeting. So I just realized this when we did the training the other day, that I have my phone out as a distraction I don't have a watch. So I use it to keep track of time. So a technique that I've used to act more interested is I just set a timer on my phone 10 minutes before I have to leave, and I say, Leah, just so you know, I do have a meeting at this time. I did set a timer just so I can make sure that we have equal time to talk. So that's helped me. So put that phone away. Flipping it over so your screen's facing down is still a complete distraction. But what are other ways that people, you can tell that people are just really not engaged or interested in you?
Well, let's talk about how you can tell they're interested in you. So I think when someone is interested in you, they are listening to hear what you're saying. They're not thinking about the next clever question that they can ask you. Because when someone's really interested and they're listening to you, they know that when they hear you speak and they hear what you're really feeling or thinking about, that the next best question that comes to them is going to come naturally.
Yeah.
And then when you ask that question, it's going to be sincere, it's going to be a natural part of the conversation. And of course, to be more interested than interesting, you want to keep questions coming. You always want to continue to ask questions. So you can only do that if you're listening.
Exactly.
You want to be able to also take some mental notes. Listen to what they're saying. There's a purpose for you to be, having a conversation with someone.
Yeah.
So you want to be listening. You're listening for the cues of how can I enhance this life? How can I better this person's life? What do I have that I can give or help this person? Well, you can't do that if you're not listening to the cues and then taking some mental notes so that you can then, I heard you say,
repeat it.
Yeah.
Repeat what they said.
I heard you say that, you struggled with some effects of an accident a few years ago. Tell me more about that.
Yeah.
Because, that question will come naturally if you're listening.
Exactly. No, I completely agree, which kind of leads us to our next question. And how do you think that we can put people at ease by really paying attention to some cues that you were kind of talking about?
Right. I think when you listen with intent, you're listening with the intent that you want to know what's happening in their life. And I think that when you do that, you pay attention to body language. You pay attention. Sometimes people don't know how to describe or explain what they're thinking or feeling because they either haven't sorted it out themselves or they just can't think of a way to verbally express it. So it's really important for you to listen. Pay attention to their body language. Pay attention to cues so that you really can try to understand where are they coming from and what am I really hearing them say.
Exactly.
And then ask, repeat this, wow, what I heard you say was, and then just say it back to them so that they can then clarify to you. That puts people at ease. They know you're very interested. You're talking to them about them. When you do that, they know that you didn't come into the conversation with an objective or you're truly interested about them. When you do that, they're going to tell you what they want. They're going to tell you what they need. When you focus on what somebody wants and what somebody needs, you never have to worry about what you need, ever.
She is such a powerful woman. Oh my gosh, I love that. One thing that came to my mind when you're talking about that is just making people feel important. And so when you are meeting with people or just having a conversation in general, like what I do, and I would love to know your techniques, is I just see everybody has MMFI tattooed on their forehead, which means make me feel important.
Okay.
Everybody wants to feel important, like you said, right?
Right.
Yeah. So what are some techniques that you use? Because I know you're, honestly, in my eyes, you're an expert at this, Leah. You are always very interested in people, and that's what makes you who you are.
Well,
so what are some techniques that you use, other than questions?
Well, all right. I have a little, if you want to call it a roadmap that I kind of follow in my brain, and it's ESPN. Everybody can remember ESPN, right? It's a sports station, ESPN. Ask someone their name. And you have to do it backwards because the N is at the bottom.
Got it.
But this is how I remember it, ESPN. Ask someone their name. Ask them where they're from. How long have they lived here? We know that people have grown up here, but more people have moved here. Ask them their name, what they do, what brought them to St. George. P would be profiling someone. Well, that's what we're doing. We're talking. We're getting to know them. We want to know them.
Exactly.
We want to hear their story. Their story makes them feel important. Ask them a question about what they do and have them teach you something about what they do. Let them be the expert.
Exactly.
Let them teach you. Give them power. That empowers people. You give them power when you ask them to educate you. And it's interesting to be educated, right? ESPN. S. Okay, S. Now that I know what you do and what you need and why you're here and how you can help me, because you've just told me all about you, now I have permission almost to explain to you what I do. And so now that I've listened to you...
Well, because they'll ask.
Right.
Sometimes they'll ask. Right? Unless they're just more being interesting.
And that's okay, because if they're being interesting, then we can meet up. We can meet up again. That opens a wonderful door, right? We can meet up again, and I can take my turn and tell them what I do. And when I tell them what I do, I have time now to kind of think about, well, what do I do? What did I hear them say? Now, how can I help them? Because that's where, solving for what can I help someone do?
Yeah, exactly.
And then the E is exit. Close the conversation. Tell them how much it was wonderful to talk to them, how amazing they are, how impressed you were, what intriguing story they have about how they got to St. George. Leave them wanting more information about you.
Yeah.
Because it's really ironic, but the less we talk and the less we talk, the less interesting we are, the more interested the person we're talking becomes in us.
I completely agree in that.
And we want to leave people interested in us. We want them to know more. We want them to get together again.
Yeah.
We want that.
Yeah. Absolutely, I completely agree. So do you have any other education or knowledge or just advice that you would like the listeners to know about this topic that we're talking about today, or just in general what you do in your passion?
Just listen for the cues. I help people. I help people live their best life every day. I have something that I can help every single person with. But I can't know what it is until they tell me. Exactly. So I just listen for people. I just listen to what they need, and use the experience that I've had all of the years that I've been in my career and life.
Yeah, exactly.
And just help them.
I love that.
Every single day.
I love that. That is awesome. And Leah Green, you've been such an amazing friend for a long time now. Not even a friend, but a mentor. And I do completely agree that you have an amazing source that can help so many people, but you're right. They do need to tell you what they need. Right. And so you've been a member for She Sparks Business for quite a while now.
Right.
And so I would love to know, Leah, how has this women's group, how has She Sparks helped you personally and professionally?
Well, I will be really transparent here. When we sit at these round tables, and I know it's coming every time. I know it's going to get to me, and I'm going to have to tell people who I am, what I do. I just have this, every single time we go, I have this moment of anxiety. Like, I don't want to talk about me or what I do, and it's not because I love what I do. But I would so much rather hear about someone else and what they do, that I have this little moment of anxiety. So I really want to say that sitting at those tables, having those roundtable discussions, it has really empowered me to be able to just talk for a few minutes about what I do, what I'm passionate about, what I love. And I think that's always a good thing to remember, because when you're listening to someone, it's always good to remember how it feels to be listened to.
Exactly.
So that you can empathize, so that you can pay attention to their body language. Are they uncomfortable doing this, you know?
Yeah.
So I think it's really important. The other thing that She Sparks has allowed me to do is meet so many amazing people, women in our community, women who they do everything you can think of. Their lives are full. They have thriving companies, thriving businesses, thriving families. They're serving on boards. They're doing community service. They're doing all kinds of things, and it has allowed me to look at women and think, what do you do? What else is beneath you? I had such an amazing experience just meeting up. So I know we don't have very much time, but I was leaving Elise West's Affogato shop. And as we were leaving, I was visiting with someone in the parking lot, and the woman who was going to pull out rolled her window down and she said, "I'm going to back out and I don't want to hit you." And we started laughing, and we said, "Thank you. We don't want to
hit
be
either." Yeah.
And then I said to her, "You look so familiar to me, but I don't know why." And you know, we never know. Is it because we saw them at She Sparks? Is it because we saw them at the grocery store? Where did we see them? Did I just see her inside Affogatos? I don't know. Where did we see her? But we got laughing and talking about how she looked familiar, I looked familiar, and I said, "Well, let's meet here next week, and let's get to know each other and figure out why we know each other." And so we met yesterday. Oh gosh, I can't tell you. I found out that she loves the symphony. She has children who play musical instruments. I am on the Southwest Symphony board. I was looking for a gala committee member. I mean, it.
Did you find out how you met each other? Where you met each other at?
No, we just
No?
we just looked familiar.
I love it. Well, you were being interested, not interesting. I
Right.
love that, Leah.
So
for
anyway.
those who have not been to a She Sparks event or experienced the community of She Sparks, what would you like to tell them?
Come. Sharon has open events for men and women both. Come, see what it's about.
Yes.
You're
exactly.
going to love it.
Thanks, Leah. And just to end this episode, if anyone would like to learn more about you and what you do and your passion, what's the best way they can get a hold of you? An email?
Sure. Facebook. Friend me. Send me a message.
Perfect. Yeah, and she is tagged to this episode. So thank you again, Leah Green, for being here. I appreciate your knowledge and your time. Again, this is episode 7, being interested, not interesting, and we will see you at episode 8.
Bye.